This is the morning of the 20th February 2026. Clip put up by MRETV. Title, Is Trump Really Anti-Trans? 11 times Donald Trump has randomly brought up his transgender for everybody obsession. The president continues to bring up transgender people in situations completely unrelated to their lives. Plays for 6 minutes. Look at this fat slob. What a fucking joke he is.
So what does Donald Trump mean when he says he's against transgender for everybody? Why does he say this exact phrase so many times? So let's listen to a few examples. He has said this many, many times and continues to say it. Transgender for everybody. Let's look at a few examples.
Playing in women's sports. We don't want to have transgender for everybody. Transgender for everyone. They want open borders. They want men playing in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. They never stop.
So I think I just realized what he means by this. He's against transgender for everybody because it's not for everybody. This is an ancient occult ritual that's only for the elite.
With the borders, with transgender for everyone, men playing in women's sports, and so much more.
He's against transgender for everybody, but he is for transgender for certain people, for the initiates, for the apprentices, for those in the club. But you notice every time he talked about the same three things. It was open borders, transgender for everyone, and men and women's sports.
They still want open borders. We're having a fight over men and women's sports, if you believe it. You would have thought they would have learned that it's not a good issue. And we have a fight in transgender, as you know, transgender for everybody. And that, when you talk medically, that's a lot of money too. That's a lot. Those operations are bad.
He's memorized those three talking points and he just keeps repeating it over and over because he's against everyone being transgender. He wants to bring it back just to the elite. He's against transgender for everybody, against transgender for the profane masses, as they like to call us, the uninitiated, the plebeian masses, the brainwashed masses. He's against it for all of us. Let's keep it all in the family. That's what he means. These people are clever. These people are really good with words, better than we think. They actually kind of play dumb, but they're very smart. They're very crafty. They choose their words very carefully. He's against transgender for everybody because it's not for everybody. It's only for the chosen few, for the elite, for the celebrities and the politicians and the billionaires. It's for the leaders of this world who are in contact with the heavenly beings. They serve the heavenly beings. They do not serve us. They have transformed their body to match the heavenly beings. It's for androgyny for the elite. This is ritual androgyny, not for the profane masses. It's for the elite. It's for the special ones, the chosen. It's all in the family. Remember, historically, the eunuchs and the androgynes worked in the king's palaces. Even the Bible says that, which few people seem to know about.
Open borders, and he was never for, if you think, he was never for transgender for everybody or men playing in women's sports.
But he doesn't say he's against transgenders completely in every situation.
You say what you want about Biden. He wasn't for open borders. He wasn't for transgender for everybody. He wasn't for men playing in women's sports.
Open borders, transgender for everyone, and men and women's sports.
Talking about common sense, the border, we have to have a wall. We don't want transgender for everybody. We don't, as I said before, we don't want to have men playing in women's sports.
They don't want transgender for everyone. They want it for themselves so they can feel superior.
But I would say that crime is stronger than men playing in women's sports.
I think he just farted.
But I would say that crime is stronger than men playing in women's sports. I think it's stronger than transgender for everybody. It's transgender for everybody, according to them. It's stronger. Of course, this is the cause of it, open borders.
Just transgender for the elite. That's his policy.
Because their policies are open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody.
And it looks spontaneous when he says it, but it's the same thing over and over. But he's for ritual androgyny. He's for elite gender inversion. That's the unspoken reality of the message. He never said he's against transgenderism for anybody. He said he's against it for everybody. So with that statement, he's able to say something that sounds conservative. He sounds like an anti-trans president, but the way he says it allows him to maintain his own beliefs and practices. So it's a bit deceptive, is what it is. Now you could argue at least they're not trying to transition the children like they were under the Biden regime, and that is true, but yet he's still holding on to the ritual androgyny. So it kind of makes you wonder, how conservative is he really? But these are very dark, secretive things that we're not supposed to talk about. He doesn't want everybody to do it, but he seems to like it in his own family.
I think transgender for all is a great, great thing for the Democrats to be talking about. Transgender for every member in your family. If they're not feeling well that night, let's just change their sex for men to play in women's sports, okay? I think open borders are great, where prisons are emptied into our country, right?
So in their cult, playing sports is not part of their cult. So he can say that. And he doesn't want transgender for everybody. He just wants it for some people.
But I would say that crime is stronger than men playing in women's sports.
So what does Donald Trump mean when he says he's against transgender for everybody?
So what do you think, huh? I'll attach the link. Pass it along, and thanks for listening.